chefs of Reddit. What are some cooking tips everyone should know? A falling knife has no handle. The worst cut I've ever had was from trying catch one on reflex. I got sliced across all my fingers. Great tip to internalize. I'm terrified because my natural instinct when I drop things is to break their fall with my foot, which has saved plates from breaking, sodas from exploding, phone screens from cracking, etc. Knives will keep right on stabbing, though. 2 things for beginners. First, taste as you cook. At various stages of cooking, while safe not raw meat, taste your food as you cook it. This lets you know if you have too much of something or too little. It also helps you develop your palate for what different seasonings do. Second, if you're just starting out and don't know which spices to buy, pick a specific cuisine you like. Are you a fan of Italian food? Focus only on Italian recipes for a while. Most use similar herbs and spices because the cuisine of the area used what they had available to them. This will let you learn several recipes without having to buy massive amounts of spices to make it work. Eventually you will build up a good stock and be set to handle most things. The problem is I can't for the life of me make out flavors in food. My mom always says taste your food and see what it's missing. I always try that and I can't ever figure out what it is that it's missing. Is it garlic? Onion? Cumin? I don't know. And I've been trying for years. Edit. Thanks for all the awesome tips everyone. I hope someone else benefited from the comments as much as I did. Oven mitts can in fact catch on fire. Also if you have wet hands or get the oven mitt wet they don't work, lol. Tongs are also oven mitts. Juicers, knives, spoons, and extendo arms. Just make sure you click them at least twice before using them to make sure they are on. One for the double click to activate tongs. 3 or 4 times the amount of butter and salt is a big part of why your food doesn't taste like restaurant food. How about 4 to 5 times the garlic? Still not enough. For thick and nice sauces, use the water you cook your pasta with. Was looking for this. I learned it helps the sauce stick to the pasta better. 2. I always save a bit of the pasta water to add to my sauce, even if it's just marinara. Avid home cook. The spice measurements in most online recipes are way too small. I usually double them. Cinnamon isn't just for sweet foods. It can be really good in savory foods. Don't forget the acid. A bit of citrus juice or vinegar can really make a dish pop and bring out the other flavors. Don't be afraid to deviate from a recipe, but be careful with baked goods. If you make big changes in baked goods you might get a dud unless you know how it will affect the baking process. Cooking is an art. Baking is a science. Source 20 years in the restaurant industry. Whatever you do, do not put your coconut in the microwave. I need to know the story behind this. They put the coconut in the microwave. Salt is seasoning. It makes food taste more like itself. Acids, like citrus or vinegar, can also do this. If your food tastes flat, or like it is missing something, try some salt or acid. Acid is also critical for balancing very rich fatty foods. The reason Americans love tomato ketchup so much is the fact that it adds acid and salt to their food. Adding a bit of heat like a pinch of cayenne can also accentuate the flavor of a dish. Spices are something else. They bring a new and different flavor to the dish. In sweets, sugar often takes the place of salt and is usually balanced by acid. See passion fruit, raspberry, citrus, etc. But salt plays an important role in sweets as well, often in unexpected ways. Try putting a pinch of kosher salt into your next batch of whipped cream. I could keep going, but I'll leave it there. If you can master these concepts you will have a big advantage over most home cooks. Edit. Several people have asked why kosher salt. It's all about the shape. Kosher salt is still nasi-el, but it is in flake form, not cube form. It has far more surface area. This makes it dissolve easier and it covers more surface when, say, seasoning a steak. 1 teaspoon of kosher salt has about half the mass weight of 1 teaspoon iodized salt, which allows you far more precision, especially when pinching and sprinkling. It's easy to over season or unevenly season with iodized table salt. Serious Eats has a good article on the subject link and is a fabulous resource in general. And yes, ketchup is loaded with sugar, too. If you're getting annoyed because it's taking you too long to peel garlic, place an unpeeled garlic clove under the flat side of your kitchen knife and press on it with your hand. The garlic peel will separate easily and your garlic will be crushed. If you plan on using juice from limes, oranges or lemons, roll them around, pushing on them not too hard before cutting them. Edit: I did not think this would get attention, so I will clarify this is for when you want to hand juice limes, lemons or oranges. Opinion on bottled lemon and lime juices. Edit: because I'm too lazy to multi-reply. Definitely agree that fresh is better. Just wish the fruit didn't rot so quickly. I mean, you can roll the bottles around on the counter, but it's really not necessary. My sen: place everything in its place. Have everything cut, seasonings and ingredients measured before you start cooking. This way you can focus on cooking. Brown meats in small batches. Do not overcrowd the pan. It will cause meat to sweat and will not brown properly. I love to cook. My now husband hated it when we started. My sen place was the game changer for him. He said he felt so much pressure and had to focus on one thing at a time. Follow the instructions, then move on to the next. It was clearly immensely stressful for him, and staying on task meant not only huge delays to prep for the next part of cooking, but without a line in the recipe saying, "Taste it." He never did. We've done Home Chef for years now, initially to expand my cooking repertoire, then to help in a concise and instructional way, and now because having groceries delivered during a pandemic is useful and safe. He shoos me out of the kitchen now when it's his turn to cook, and is still my sous chef as needed. Really amazing to see someone enjoy what they once loathed, and I'm so happy he's got another arena in life in which to feel confident. Learn basic cutting techniques for cutting vegetables. Keep it simple. The number ingredients doesn't say anything about the taste of a dish. Go for dishes you can make in 30 to 40 minutes with 6 to 8 ingredients. Keep a notebook. Gather a list recipes and dishes you do regularly. Expand gradually with new stuff. Don't just buy cookbooks you never really use. Adding is easy. Removing is hard. People here argue to liberally add butter and seasoning. Tastes differ, though. It's totally fine to put in less if that's what you fancy. You don't need a gazillion utensils in your daily cooking. A basic kitchen knife already does a lot of the heavy lifting. Learn to use that properly. Observe. How do ingredients act when you combine them? What happens when you put them in a pan or pot and apply heat? Always be cleaning. You have idle time. Clean the sink. Don't be afraid to fail. Learn from your mistakes. Also, don't pretend you know better than the recipe, especially if you never made a recipe before. Always be cleaning is important to end of meal satisfaction. It's such a drag to look up at the end of a great dinner and see a monstrous cleaning task ahead of you. The amount of garlic flavor is dependent on when you add the garlic. Add it early for light flavor. Add it late for bold flavor. I've been cooking really intensely at home during COVID and honestly can say I've gotten pretty good. But this might be the only thing I've seen on here that will really change my day-to-day cooking. Thank you. This is a tip I've gotten from cooking videos, mainly Kenji. If you chop your garlic or onion, the longer you let them sit on the side, the more potent they become. Not sure if this can be used to substitute a lack of quantity, but it's pretty interesting. Sharp knives are less dangerous than dull knives. I hate dull knives. Sharp knives require almost zero force. Just a cutting motion and the knife does all the work. Your pan does not need to be on maximum heat. You have to cook meat to a specific internal temperature to kill bacteria. Anything more is just trying it out generalized. Lemon zest and garlic with a cream sauce makes anything delicious. Wash your hands, tools, and area after dealing with raw meats. Watch the water splatter from the sink when washing as well. When a recipe calls for you to let something sit or rest, do not rush this step. Good things happen to the food in that time. You are less likely to cut yourself with a sharp knife compared to a dull one. Sifting flour, when adding it to baking recipes, can improve the results. Test your yeast before committing to using it. When cooking for a group, season lightly. and use hot spices sparingly. They can both be done after it's served. Puree or fine grate veggies such as carrots or zucchini into sauces, or even peanut butter, to get kids to get some nutrients. Buy a rice cooker. Uncle Roger said so. Sanitize. 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 Wet hand, dry hand, while breading or coating food. Never pry anything out of an electrical appliance. No metal in toasters or microwaves. Dishwashers have a gunk trap or general area where stuff collects. Clean this. Also check the water outlets as lemon seeds and other things can clog them. Herbs and spices can be annoying to eat, such as twiggy pieces of rosemary or peppercorns. Put them in a cheesecloth or emptied out tea bag, dropped in the liquid, to give their flavors, but not the textures. Don't pan fry bacon in the morning with no shirt on. Buy local as often as you can. Massively improve the quality of your proteins with fond. Doesn't matter the protein, but beef, pork, tofu. Fond is the dark brown stuff that sticks to your pan when you're cooking. It's not burnt, unless it's actually black. To get it off the pan on the food, pour in either an alcohol or acid to dissolve it, and get the now brown liquid to coat your protein. Different proteins work best with different alcohols. Good rule of thumb. Dry white for chicken or any lighter meat. Red for beef. Lemon juice works great for almost everything. If you find cooking unbearable, try being less sober while you do it. I enjoy cooking with wine. Sometimes, I even put it in the food. Where it all had to hide the small rat. Spit in lines. Do not put oil when boiling your pasta, especially if it is store-bought. The sauce would not adhere to an oiled pasta. Edit: I'm aware that oil and water do not mix, and the oil would just float or create a layer on top of the water. But once you drain your pasta, the oil is poured all over it and stays there when you pour the sauce. Clumping. Just make sure to use lots of water so there is more room for pasta to move around as you stir it periodically. Also, yes, PLS salt your pasta water. Not a chef, but everyone should know how to cook eggs. Hard-boiled, omelets, scrambled, sunny side up, cooked on both sides. Once you master the recruit difficulty of eggs, throw some mushrooms or tomatoes, or whatever you like in an omelet or scrambled eggs. Gordon Ramsay made a video on eggs link, and after trying what he did, and really getting better at it, my family and friends just make them eggs. So many great tips here. Things I would add to the list of tips given my time running restaurants. Build a pantry of ingredients you can use. This includes dried spices, herbs, different vinegars, maybe a fancy finishing salt and regular salt. You won't use them all every meal, but it's good to have a bunch of stuff to work with. Think of a good mechanic. They have toolboxes full of various tools for any problem they may come across. This is the same for cooking. Grab some small bowls. These will be your mise en place bowls. Prep your stuff out, place them in bowls, and then use them as you need. There's a reason you see cooking shows have all of their ingredients in bowls. It's easier to not scramble around trying to chop up some veggies while trying to not burn the onions you put in the pan. Makes sense. Taste, 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 taste. Always taste the food. Somebody mentioned how different garlic tastes depends on when you add it to the process. That is absolutely true about everything. Always taste as you add stuff and cook longer. Don't buy substitutes. They are generally all trash. Get the regular butter. Get the regular mayo. Avoid olive oil added. For health reasons. They are generally full of more crap and additives than the regular version. Low fat or reduced calories are in the same boat. This is a broad stroke comment for those with medical issues. This may not apply. Everybody is different. Keep trying stuff out. Try the same dish multiple times. Don't get too hard on yourself. I've been doing this for 12 years and still cook some crappy meals, or come up with dish ideas that just kind of suck. It's going to happen. It's not a 100% success rate with good food. You're going to duck up dinner a few times. We've all done it. We are going to do it again. It's a craft. It takes time. Hope these tips help. Keep cooking. Don't stop. Make some funky meals. A chef de cuisine from Chicago. Olive oil is a condiment and is terrible to fry with. Use vegetable oil or any other neutral oil. It has a higher flash point and is pretty much flavorless. And don't be scared of salt pepper. Throw that shit in there. Also MSG is good. Edit, this applies to Asian dishes high heat wok cooking. Sorry if I offended any Italians. On the olive oil front, you're half right. An unrefined oil like Evu has a low smoke point, but refined purified filtered olive oils have a higher smoke point. Smoke point Evu 375 female 177 C. Pure virgin olive oil 391 female 199 C. Extra light olive oil 468 female 242 C. Canola vegetable oil is 400 female 204 C. Peanut safflower oil 450 female 232 C. Avocado oil 520 female 271 C. Since you would usually be deep frying chicken at 375 female, it shouldn't make much of a difference, although pan frying could mean a temperature as high as 600 female for a cast iron pan at high heat. Side note, unrefined oils like flaxseed, walnut and butter contain beneficial nutrients and phytochemicals which are destroyed when overheated. Evu is an exception and can be used regardless, but be prepared for a slight smoky flavor. There's a myth out there that it causes cancer at certain temperatures. Not true.